the capitalism will work itself out where people will say, no, I demand a firm that won't do that. Then you will find a firm that won't do that.
Do you think in general, a bit of a more, I guess, of a moral question maybe, do you think that frictionless trading is a good thing for like the average retail trader? Or do you think this is something that maybe we should move away from?
I mean, I don't know exactly, but like, I think that there's, I think for the average person, it's probably better than not. I
Mm-hmm.
think, the trick of investing is that it's not easy, right?
Sure.
And, that's the thing that everyone sort of gets upset about. It's really difficult. There's a really great hedge fund this year is down 50%.
Mm-hmm.
They're really, really smart people, super like bright, some of the best people on Wall Street. And yeah, they're down 50% because, the shit is hard.
Yeah.
So, you can't really like just will your way to make money. And some years are going to be good, some years are going to be bad. And if you're an amateur investor, it's going to be really tricky. It's people just assume.
True.
Yeah, people just assume. Hang on a second. Let's see.
Crazy that he got
Calm
in here. I
down.
didn't even see him.
Calm
I don't
down.
even know who that was.
Gotcha. Okay, so no real opinion.
Fuck you, Robert.
One way or the other. I guess
Not really.
Yeah. So for you, do you find that like, are you recognized a lot when you're doing anything? Like if you're at an airport, or do people see you? I imagine the reaction is probably
Pac-Man.
overwhelmingly negative. Like, how do you deal with that?
No, it's not negative. It's
No?
only just positive. Yeah.
Really?
I guess you have an active imagination.
Oh, okay. I would have imagined, I guess, because of everything I see media-wise, you're like you were you're the pharma guy that tried to murder cancer kids or whatever, right? Basically.
Yeah. No, I got like thousands of letters in prison. They're all positive. I got like three hate mail, three
Okay.
pieces of hate mail in 5 years.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was. I think that you have a distribution versus intensity problem. So
For sure.
yeah, 80% of people. I think the last survey we did was like 70% of people don't like me, but on a scale of 1
Oh,
to
you
10,
just
their
hunting for
conviction
me?
is like
All
1 or
right,
2.
bet. Fuck it.
Whereas the 30% of people that
Cause
do
you
like me,
been
their
gay. He
conviction is
been
more like 8
real
or
gay,
9.
bro.
Makes sense.
So it ends up getting more net love than net hate, but it's I mean, what can you do? Again, it's not my job to worry about it, think about it too much. But yeah, when people recognize you, invariably they want like a selfie or whatever.
Gotcha.
Man, weed is legal here, so I just smell it everywhere. It sucks.
Where
not-
do you say what state you're in, or
New York.
New York? Okay, gotcha. Are you in the city, or?
I mean, I'm living in a halfway house right now because of the restrictions I have to like live out of this weird place. A lot of prisoners have to do it. There's no reason I should be living in a halfway house. It's really frustrating.
How long are you stuck there for?
Hopefully not
Bitch.
too much longer.
Okay, it's not bad. What do you want to do
Come on,
afterwards? I guess.
fuck
Like,
outta
do you want
here.
to leverage everything
Yeah,
that's happening
wow.
in some sort of
That
other public
jumping shit, wow.
kind of like fade away, or what? Like from the public
Jumping
eye
to
for a
these
while.
vector
Like, how do you feel
bullets.
I think the same thing I was doing before. I never intended to sort of be in the public eye. So there's no explicit kind of goal for me to, kind of be famous or something like that. It just sort of happened by accident. And I think if you become successful enough, there's not much you can, so not much you can do to, sorry. There isn't much you can do to sort of, fix it. I mean, there's just, change it. Like there are people that wanted to be anonymous and they just don't ever get that chance because
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at Rittenhouse, I don't know how much you follow all that stuff.
Sure.
Like, he's trying to
Keep hating
leverage
your life, then,
everything that
working
happened
class
to do
Andy.
like more kind of like public-facing stuff.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure there are people that get public and they're like, I don't want this. So they
Anybody
like,
that come over here
explicitly take a very
getting
far
dusted.
step back to try
Come
to
the fuck
avoid
over
any
here.
limelight type stuff. I don't know if you have
Yeah.
like a strong feeling one way or another. Or...
Yeah, most just indifferent. I mean, I think, happy
Well, you might not
if
get dusted
people
because I
ignored me,
can't find the
happy
ammo.
if people
Okay.
didn't. Just, there's some benefits to having some
Okay,
public,
bitches, I reloaded.
public, sorry, I just don't know how to use this software.
Fine.
Trying to make it so that nobody,
Where'd I get shot from?
host management. Sorry about that. Got too many trolls. Yeah, so what the heck were we talking about? Yeah, so I mean, there's some
Said it ain't
benefits
capping
to,
if y'all gonna keep coming over here.
to having a public, quote-unquote, facing, a public face, but there's also a lot of drawbacks, obviously, and you just have to balance those and get the best out of something without getting the worst out of something.
Are we getting a Shkreli NFT rug pull soon?
No rug pull. I don't rug pull.
Yeah, jeez.
Rug pull is for people without money who need money desperately. That's not me.
I guess you've kind of been away for that entire, the explosion of like the NFT and the crypto shit kind of as of recently, yeah?
I mean, I've been watching it from jail.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even participating in it. Who knows?
Do you feel, so this is kind of an odd question, but I guess this is a feeling I have, but I can't remember. Maybe it's because it's federal prison. I feel like if I was in prison, I feel like I'd be around a lot of people that I'm normally
Fuck out of here,
never
just waiting there. Just waiting
seeing or
there.
interacting
Don't
with
wait there.
normally.
That's probably true for you. I have a unique situation because I'm from New York City, and I grew up in kind of a lower income neighborhood. So that type of person isn't new to me,
Okay, gotcha.
you know.
So no
Whereas,
huge,
and in New
like,
York,
culture shocks or whatever.
yeah, nothing gigantic. A little different for sure, but you know, nothing totally crazy. I mean, it wasn't my day to day for the last 20 years or 15 years or 10 years maybe, but if you live in New York and you take the subway, if you live in New York and you know, like you just get exposed to a lot of different types of people, and you know, it's not that surprising. If you're from a really small town or you're from a country club kind of like lifestyle, you know, yeah, it can probably be fucking nuts.
So you said that the therapy stuff was, I guess, a little surprising in that it was something that, because you felt like you benefited a lot from it. Is there any other part of the whole experience that I guess was kind of surprising, that you didn't expect this to be this way, and it was either a lot more positive than you thought or a lot more negative than you thought?
Jail was a lot noisier than I liked. So like it was really, really like the amount of people who just, you know, literally didn't give a shit about, their neighbors. You know, like there's just no politeness whatsoever. That was like really frustrating. There's not much you can do. Start fights all the time.
If you had didn't turn around, I was
So
gonna
that was
punch
like,
you in your head
just
with
a
this
sort of
machete.
like ridiculous, like really frustrating experience. Real noisy
You saw
place.
it too, didn't you?
Is that even
You
true,
saw
like,
it?
after, like, when they, I don't know if they do, like, lights out at 10 or whatever, are people making
Yeah,
noise throughout
none
the
of that
night?
stuff really. Yeah, none of that stuff helps.
Gotcha.
Yeah, really, really frustrating. And, like, you know, there's just like people. You know, autism is like, you know, one way people think about autism is you can't put yourself in somebody else's shoes, right? And so like, it's not quite autism, obviously, in this case, but it's very much like either you can't or you won't. You just don't care, you know.
Yeah, very
it's just-
inconsiderate.
Yeah, really inconsiderate. So what can you do? So that was one piece. Again, not a huge complaint, just because, you know, it's prison like.
Hey, I'm about to hop off, man.
几点？
But
有点好不好？
好
Yeah,
看个戏，
I mean,
礼拜一再说吧。
what can I say? I mean, that was
Thanks,
a little
whatever
bit
you
frustrating. You see a lot of people that just couldn't read and write or had zero understanding of anything outside of their immediate world. So like, I'd ask one guy one time, I asked a table full of guys, I said, can you guys name one famous artist? And they couldn't. And I said, can you name one philosopher from history? No go. I'd ask them stuff sometimes like, who are the Beatles? Or like something like, you know, really like pop culture-y. And it was just like blank stares, you know?
Is there, like, when you get in, is there, like, a celebritydom to you being in there? Or is everybody just, as soon as you got the uniform on, you're all kind of, like, the same shit? Like, do people treat you differently because of the TV stuff and everything? Or, like, what is that like?
Yeah, it was pretty different for me, unfortunately. It was just a lot of, like, the same things, like sycophantism, you know, kind of, you know, There are certainly people that didn't give a shit, but I'd say 90% of people were like, "Oh yeah, you're that guy. Oh man, so nice to meet you." Or, "Damn, you that dude. What about the Wu-Tang?" You know.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever get anybody threaten you over releasing the Wu-Tang album? I still don't know if that's a real thing or just a fucking troll. I have no idea. Do you exclusively own an unreleased Wu-Tang album, or is that just like a fucking meme?
Yeah. So, long story, I guess. Let me try to see if I can. I was gonna play some of it right now, but I have to find a way to digitally do certain things here. I probably can't. Let me see. Yeah, no. So I bought a one of one Wu-Tang album some years ago. Physical copy of that album, so I'm very happy about. I retained some digital copies, so it's a really unique
I've heard that,
situation.
and there's so much rumors. So I when it comes to media stuff, I don't believe anything unless I like actually 100% verify it. But I've heard people say that like you had to sell it as part of the settlement stuff, or that the DOJ made you. Do you still retain like exclusive rights to that album, or?
I don't think so. The album was weird. There was no exclusive rights, so to speak. It was really like complex, really complex kind of situation. But
Okay.
yeah. But regardless of how that went down, I did sell the physical copy to finish paying the government. I could have sold other assets or paid in cash, but I decided because of the NFT boom, there was an opportunity to sell something for a higher price than I normally would get. So I paid 1.5 and sold it for 2.3. So I was pretty happy to dump it at the better price.
Sure.
Because again, the NFT thing like spiked all collectible values, like Magic cards, baseball card, everything went up. That anything collectible went up like crazy. I was like really thrilled to, because I thought I was going to see a big loss on this thing. I got it for 1.5, so I figured I actually thought I would get 500,000 out of it at best. And so to get 2.3 was a huge reward. But I was really surprised when somebody else paid 4 million. That was really surprising.
To the guy that bought it from you? Yeah, okay, that sucks, yeah.
Yeah, he flipped it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that was brutally annoying, but what can you do?
Was it for prison life? Is it super tribal, or is everybody like pretty chill, or they like their own like it's more atomized, or what? Are you like joining groups or?
Yeah, it's group based. There's definitely a really clear sort of method that's evolved. It's kind of like something kind of self-organizing behavior. So there's this whole system, sort of car system, basically. The car is your group. So a car is sort of like I don't know if it's the word clique or gang or what it's best. But
tribe, maybe, yeah. Just keep it general,
tribe. Yeah, and it's weird because it's you can be in several cars at once. So, for example, I was in the white car, which I'm automatically in. You can't not be in it. Like, you can't be like, no, I withdraw from this car. Like, it doesn't work that way.
For white, is that like, for federal prison, are white people a big minority? Is it like even-ish, or?
No, it's about a third, white, black, Hispanic.
Okay, gotcha.
But each jail is different, so you can have some jails that are as much as 50-60% one race, and that can cut every single way. So like in California, Hispanics are very Latinx community members, I should say,
Jesus.
are predominant in certain places. White people, in certain places it's black people, so it's all different. So yeah, you automatically are like drafted to your race car immediately. Like there's just no arguing that, for better or worse. I have some funny stories about that as well. One time I kind of resisted that.
Resisted what? Identifying as a white person, or what?
More or less, yeah.
Like as a troll, or just? Or what?
No, I just really didn't like the whole race thing, because like my whole room was black. Like I didn't, and this dude was just this like weird southern racist guy was like, yeah, we gotta stick together, you know what I mean, man, it's important that we we got each other's back. Me and the wolves here, we'll watch over you. And I was like, dude, I don't need you to watch over me. He's like, listen, you're new to prison, brother. Shit hits your fan, they only see one thing. You're either white or you ain't. And I'm like, get away from me. What the fuck? I don't want to. Yeah, and this dude was just like weirded me out, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take my chances with my roommates, man. I'm sorry. Because so that's sort of the second part of it was the where you're from is really important. So if you're from New York, you're sort of automatically drafted in the New York car. If you're from DC, you're in the DC car, et cetera, et cetera. So there's this real like territoriality of like, all this. And the most important part that I'm not going to mention, or that I didn't mention yet, is this shot caller. So the shot caller is the head of the car. Okay, and so
Is that a term you're using, or do they refer to them as cars?
It's widely, yeah.
Okay,
I wouldn't use, I would call it a click or something. But yeah, the shot caller system is evolved across prisons to basically make them run smoothly. So it's a form of pseudo-government or proto-government where, let's say you were for whatever reason, you were in the Philadelphia car, and I was in the New York car, and I had a real problem with you for some reason. I wanted to fight you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could be crazy enough to just fight you. That's happens every day, right? But the smarter thing to do, I might go to my shot caller and be like, listen, I'm gonna stab Steve, or Destiny. I hate him.
Mm-hmm.
He did this and that to me, and I'm gonna stab him. So the shot caller has a few choices there. He might put his arm around me and say, look, don't do that. You're just gonna make things crazy. You're gonna do 6 months. If he really gets in the shoe, which is the whole special housing unit, or solitary confinement, basically. You're gonna do 6 months in the hole, and might get a new charge if he gets really hurt. You can actually get charged for assault or worse. And then his car, the Philly car, is gonna come at us, and I'm cool with the Philly car. See if you get another way that we can sort of set this up.
Yeah, not only that,
have a
fucking too big.
have a bad
Let's go to the gulag.
situation unfold,
Gotcha.
or
Gulag,
you might be like,
fucking
all
crazy.
right,
Hell, that's too small.
I
that guy
am.
has it coming
I
to
am.
him.
Yeah, but it's badass.
get,
It really separates the boys from the men.
Spanky,
Wow, that's
Say Hi, and Flacco,
really?
and we're all gonna go get him at midnight, something like that. And there's it could range from anywhere between A to Z. And the shot caller kind of runs the car,
I got some great
disciplines within the car as well. So like, if, let's say I was the shot caller and you were in my car and you stole something from the Mexicans, I would actually have the responsibility of disciplining you, because you could really start a war.
Fuck everything up with everybody.
Yeah. So like, I would actually have to beat you up with other guys in the car, like, which would be, it's obviously pretty awkward because we're supposed to be sort of also protecting each other. We wouldn't necessarily beat you up. We may discipline you in some other way, but the biggest discipline you can have is, quote unquote, sending somebody up top, which means that, or checking somebody in, is another phrase. So basically, we would ask you to go to solitary confinement voluntarily.
How do you get? Can you just volunteer for that, and then the official prison system? Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah, you basically say that you fear for your safety, and that you gotta go, and the prison has no choice but to
Interesting.
we'll put you in there.
There's I don't know how true this is, obviously, because I'm only going off one, but I have a friend who does she does documentaries, and in some of the places she was at in Mexico, it kind of reminds me of this. She'll tell me that like there are certain lawless places where the police aren't in many areas that are some of the safest places for white people to be. It's called Cartel Grand, and if any white tourist gets killed there, the cartel will fucking murder anybody who's involved.
Right,
It fucks up there, because no tourists will come in and everybody will get. So it kind of reminds me of that you have like these like shadow economy, shadow justice systems that are self-reinforcing, because if shit starts to get fucked up, I imagine like if two cars get into something because of some members and everybody's like, police will get involved, and now everybody's like super fucked and unhappy with the situation.
Yeah, and people like their routine. So if the routine gets broken up into a place where now I'm in the shoe for 6 months because you stole something,
Everybody's
dude,
unhappy,
come on,
man.
dude. Yeah, and we can't the code is kind of like, most of the time, is we can't not protect you. Like, especially if you're kind of like the most important thing is your quote-unquote paperwork, meaning you were never a federal informant or snitch, not just federal, but an informant or a snitch in any capacity, then that's kind of like, no, we can't,
Fucking handguns, dude.
we can't not protect you. So I think they use different terms, like you're a solid guy or a stand-up guy, or your paperwork is good, meaning, you know, you're not a snitch. We kind of have to protect you, so like, now, sometimes, and I've seen it, you know, you can get thrown to the wolves. You can be like, listen, we tried to help him. He kept stealing. We told him to stop stealing, and Mexicans stabbed him up. Oh, well. You know, like, sucks for you, dude.
Yeah, so I imagine any car that's going to protect a guy that's fucking around is then going to take on the liability and responsibility for everything that dude fucking does.
Yeah, so that happens all the time. I mean, guys in jail are pretty messed up, so they'll steal, they'll do things that are really against the protocol, and, like, you can't really do much. You know, it's like, sorry, dude, you know, we tried.
I guess you're kind of answering this in a roundabout way, but then I guess my question would be like,
Oh, come
do a
on,
lot of the
seriously.
people that go to jail, are they able, or go to prison, I guess, do they integrate into these groups easily because they come from groups, or are a lot of these people like loners and they come in and they, but it sounds like it's 50, like some do and some
That's a
don't, I
great
guess.
question, yeah. That's so Ross Ulbricht has that problem right now.
That shit wasn't
right?
great.
He's, you're familiar with Ross's
You
story.
would
I
separate
told
the
you.
boys
No,
from the
Ross
men.
Ross Ulbricht, Ullbrich.
I mean, somebody might
Ross was
my
the head
bitch
of
in the
Silk
corner.
Road.
In the
Oh,
corner
okay,
of the fucking
gotcha.
shower.
So,
He touched my no square.
He got a double life sentence plus 30 years just in case he beats the life sentence. Really, really tricky situation there. And yeah, you know, so Ross, from the people I've talked to, and I want Ross to get out. I'm going to try to help him get out. You know, he really doesn't deserve double life sentence. It's insane. But, you know, and again, prison rumors should stay in prisons.
Sure.
I'll just say that, you know, this whole car thing gets very serious at the higher level prisons. So I was at the second lowest of the four systems. You know, so the lowest is the so-called prison camp, where again, a lot of this stuff isn't taken too seriously. It's mostly lawyers and dentists and doctors.
Sure, people for like insurance malpractice and dumb shit. or
Very,
whatever. Okay.
very small drug crimes here and there, you know, things like that. So, you know, basically, I was at the second, which was called the low. Then there's the medium, and then there's the penitentiary. The penitentiary is not a pleasant place. Penitentiary is for life sentences, things like that, and that's where Ross is right now. And again, he's a skinny white kid who's like, when he went in, was like 25. Never has done any violence, never been involved with guns or drugs.